morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. Of course, I'm your host, Stacy Brown.
Peace and love, everybody. Welcome and happy holidays. Just perspective, we are 17 days away from Christmas, 18 days away from Kwanzaa, which means we are 24 days away from the new year. Are you ready, Stacy, for the new year?
Listen, time flies so fast. Whether you're ready for another year to come in or not, you know it's gonna happen quick. So I mean, look, it's already the 8th of December.
I know.
It, it's like, gosh, where
Yeah.
does time go?
Huh. Either you keep up or get left behind.
Look, exactly. Um, Lots going on today, Nia. A whole lot. and but one of the things that happened yesterday, and you've been all over the whole Shador Sanders thing, and I know you got some sports later on, but you've been all over this, and I've kind of been like, okay, whatever, whatever, whatever. But things are so when they're so obvious that something is amiss, something is nefarious, something's going on here. I mean, Shador Sanders, the Browns were down big, right? And then he rallied them back. They were down 31-17. It was 6 minutes to go, and he rallied them back. He threw three touchdown passes, got them within 31-29, and um, all they needed was a 2 point conversion to tie the game. I mean, and I say all they needed. 2 point conversions are not as easy as they may appear or sound. Still, you put your best. He had also rushed for 29 yards. So you had the double threat of him throwing a touchdown or throwing the completion for the 2 point conversion or running it in for the 2 point conversion, sending the game potentially into overtime. However, the coach pulled Shador Sanders as they lined up to go in for the 2 point conversion. Niele, why? And this is not only an embarrassment to the Browns coaches, to the organization, but to the NFL. This is this is horrendous.
Mm, yeah, for sure. I think it was on everybody's timeline yesterday, that story. We all saw it. And so, everybody's like, they're not contenders for the playoffs anymore. Let's just start there. And they had an opportunity yesterday. And so, the leadership over at the Browns have one decision to make, and we'll just see if they get it right.
Well, listen, they got it totally wrong. It's just
No,
it's
I'm talking about
insane.
going into next season. They have one
Yeah.
decision to make the franchise better, and we'll see if they
Mhm.
do the
Well,
right.
actually, two decisions. One, and I know where you're going is to start Shador. That's the
No, I'm
big.
talking about firing the coach. I
Oh,
mean,
okay. Because I was gonna say too.
Shador has already positioned himself,
Mhm,
that he is a starting quarterback. Okay. He's
mhm,
proven that. And for the last 2 or 3 games, he's been in that position. So, I just think if they have a new coach, then
mhm.
it'll make everything better.
But do you think that it's the coach? Do you think that he's not getting these instructions from the top?
Well, the Top's grandkids were on the sidelines before Shador was named starting quarterback. The owner's grandkids were on the sideline with number 12 jerseys on. So I
Mm,
think even at their Thanksgiving table, we know what the subject matter was.
right,
Start
right.
Shador, fire the coach. And so, a lot of times grandkids have a lot of influence. So we know when it comes to the ownership of that team that family has mixed thoughts. Everybody's not on the same page. So hopefully those grandkids will continue to have influence, and that that they make the right decision. I mean, yesterday
Yeah.
was a total example, or it's like an NBA scenario where there's some betting going on and they're
Oh, there
intentionally
we
trying
go.
to lose the
There we
game.
go. There we go. And I think Nancy Wall hit it too. They need to check and see if they throw that game for betting purposes. Patricia Jackson said, fire the coach. The team wants to win. Dr. Maryland says, I think it's the NFL. But um, gosh, who was it that I saw break it down about this betting stuff? And like you said, they're talking about the NFL. I mean the NBA, but it goes to the NFL, it goes to Major League Baseball, all this MGM, FanDuel, etc. Um, there was a field goal kicked in the Raider game that seemed so ridiculous. It was preposterous to kick a field goal there, but you had to understand it came down to betting, right? It had to. And I think Dr. Maryland is right. This is a NFL thing when it comes to the Sanders. Listen, I have come to that conclusion, even after saying in the beginning that I mean I am not a Dion fan. I'm not a Sanders fan.
We know you're
However,
nobody's fan. We know.
however, what's right is right. What's obvious is obvious. Something is amiss, and it's not just in Cleveland. I think Dr. Maryland is right. I think the Shador Sanders thing is an NFL thing.
Yeah,
Something
well,
is not right.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm definitely a Dion fan. I'm definitely a Sanders men fan. But I think a lot of times it's a setup because this is only amplifying Shador's platform. When you look at yesterday, you look at social media, and you look at the timeline, Shador was the NFL. I don't
Hmm.
I don't even I don't even know what other teams were playing yesterday. All I know is Shador Sanders was playing, and that horrible call by that coach took over and dominated all of the headlines. So, the Browns may think they're hurting Shador, but what they're only doing is showing his class, his intelligence. And when he does get the opportunity to play, he's going to do more than excel. He's going to shine.
Well, he was certainly shining yesterday, and they took the shine off for sure of a potential win for Cleveland. No team, those players on
For
one of the
Cleveland, but not for
organization,
Shador. Let's just be clear
right,
that it wasn't a shine for Cleveland, but for Shador, he
right.
shined yesterday. Even after post interview, he was shining.
They, there's this thought about tanking. No team, the players, the organization may want to tank. The players never want to lose. They could be 0-16. They want that 17th game. So this was purely a coach's thing and purely a Cleveland Browns thing. And I agree with Dr. Maryland. Again, I'll say it again. It's an NFL thing. So, man.
Well, Shador, just when you think of NFL, just think of Shador Sanders. I want to address Big Cheese. He says, Miss Niele, I was wondering, just wondering if you heard of any FBAs being deported. I may not have heard of them being deported, but I have heard of them being racially profiled. I have heard of them being arrested. And that is the story of Black people in this country. So, I mean, where are they going to deport us to? We in our homeland, but they do racially profile us. And this Trump Klan administration is giving them authority to do so. So that's the bigger issue, the racial profiling.
There are Black people missing. We don't know if they've been deported or not. There are
Well, I,
foundational Black people
well,
missing in all of
yeah.
this ICE stuff. So we don't know where they are. And
Well, I don't know about
also,
that, but I know they have been arrested and racially profiled.
oh, we know that. But what I'm saying is, so many people have been caught up in this and missing. We don't know what this Klan has done with them. And also, hold on, this birthright citizenship stuff. Mm, watch what happens there. Um, Also this morning, the Trump folks want to do all they can to maintain its mostly white population. Um, they want Europe to do all they can to maintain its mostly white population, or they threaten them that they won't be U.S. allies anymore. A new national security strategy has come out with the Trump administration claiming that some of America's oldest allies in Europe face, quote, the real and more stark prospect of civilization erasure due to immigration and the purported erosion of democratic principles. They accuse the European Union and other unnamed transnational bodies of allowing unchecked immigration and curbing free speech. So they're saying, look, if this continues, we're not going to be allies anymore. So they want others. They want the Europe nations to follow what this country is doing in a very dastardly way, as we just discussed.
I mean, they are really afraid of people of color. That's the only thing I can think of. And particularly, of course, Black people are at the top of their list. I mean, that's all that says to me. You're worried about what's happening abroad now. I mean, you are so threatened by what's happening here in the United States, and you don't want to admit the truth because white folks are no longer the majority. Um, they're just going to keep that buried for as long as they can. But now you want to take it abroad over to the pond? Get out of here. That's my response. In our community, we would say, Negro, please.
Well, please. Nigga, please work for UPS. The Trump administration has removed Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth from next year's calendar of interest fee free days for national parks and added Trump's birthday to the list, according to the National Park Service, as the administration continues to push back against a reckoning of the country's racist history and federal lands. So there you go again. Foundational black folks. I mean, this guy could care less about you. And he continues, his administration continues to show you that too.
Well, I think this is a warning sign. I think that we should prepare because if they're attacking just being able to go into these, facilities for free, that means that there are conversations about the actual holidays,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
so, just let's be prepared, and
Mhm.
sometimes those are the things that trigger mass movement. So, mess around and FAFO if you want to.
Yeah. And
But
so
folks are not going to be happy about you trying to take away our holidays.
yeah, so they want to add to the free days, Trump Day, his birthday, Flag Day. The updated calendar has Constitution Day and Teddy Roosevelt's birthday. So you could, it's like there's no more, trying to be subtle about it. So it's unbelievable. And Greer asked a good question, Neil. Which I think we kind of talked about before. What will the next administration do about all these types of Trump changes? And it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, that's going to be the challenge because he's doing so much seen and unseen, right? So it's like, what do you attack first? The priority. Some of the priorities are things we don't even know about. And so that's going to be the challenge. But I don't care how much it is. Get somebody else in there, and let them start figuring it out. And we might be moving into, how they say we would always move into a new world order. We might just be at that point.
Mhm.
And just things are going to continue to be different, especially with not just changing it, but with AI coming into the scenario as well. Like we're just moving into a different space as it relates to the world in this country.
Yeah. Nancy Wall says the whole world is watching these clowns and what they're trying to do. The whole world's watching these clowns. I like that.
And it's
Yeah, and his,
unbelievable. I mean, most people, including us, we cannot believe that this is happening and continues to happen.
Dr. Marilyn says, well, as she's talking about these museums and stuff and parks, she says, well, at least as a veteran, she gets in free anyway. Trump is unreal. It's just crazy. And also, as we know, so a big day is coming up as early as tomorrow, as race continues to shadow every assault on the Affordable Care Act. Tomorrow, it should be a vote tomorrow on whether the federal subsidies will remain in the Affordable Care Act to keep it affordable for probably 40 million people. But the fight over the ACA was never just about healthcare. Check out our story on BlackPressUSA.com. It really goes into how it all began the moment Barack Obama was elected. Um, and you had a black president who put the lives of poor and marginalized people into federal law. And they have spent forever since he instituted the law, since the law was instituted, attacking it, talking about the birther conspiracy, which again, this week the Supreme Court has taken up the whole birthright thing because Trump and his birther attacks on Obama. These are the stuff white folks never have to endure, and no matter what challenges they have. I mean, all these challenges, the most qualified black folk, and Barack Obama was probably the most qualified president we've had. I mean, I'm again, and Neil's gonna say, "Of course you wasn't." I'm no fan of Barack Obama, but the facts are the facts. I mean, think about the presidents. How many more qualified presidents did we have? We haven't had a qualified president like that in a very long time, at least. And so um, they have attacked this guy simply because he's black, and the
Mhm.
healthcare law simply because a black man wrote that law.
Yeah, the real concern is the American people that are going to be affected by that. And I'm sure Barack Obama would say, all the things that you listed are important. They don't matter, about birthright or anything. It's about American people having affordable health care. It's about other countries in this world having free health care, and their governments are sustainable, their governments are thriving, and people have access to health care. And why isn't it that the most popular, the one of the richest countries in this world cannot provide health care, even if it's not free, at a decent cost for its citizens? Yet we watch an administration that continues to gouge and steal from our government, continues to give their rich buddies tax cuts, free taxes. I mean, and you know what I mean? At a Congress who has better health care than the constituents that they serve. And so, I mean,
Right.
I think those are the things that are important, and our forever president, Barack Obama, would say as well.
I have when I look back on when they were crafting, when he was working on the Affordable Care Act, and of course, both chambers of Congress had to approve it, and they did. Um, I wonder, and I hope somebody one day ask him this question, but I wonder, did Obama was his ultimate goal was to try and make it free, as you was talking about? I believe it was, and I believe the roadblocks was so much that he knew he couldn't make it free in America because it's all about the haves and the have-nots, have always have been, and about the haves and the have-nots. People generally in this country does not like, it despises those who are not wealthy. It despises the poor. It despises children. It despises the elderly. It despises the people of color. And so they would not have allowed him to do that. So he did what he thought and what turned out to be a really strong law. And so they've been trying to dismantle it ever since. And so that's the bottom line. Also, this morning, this is to me, I found this to be very interesting. I wouldn't recommend anybody do this, but it was still interesting. This black woman on TikTok decided she wasn't going to let racism hide behind a screen after a man named Mike posted comments calling black people the N-word and claiming he had what he called black fatigue. She drove 3 hours to his job to confront him in person. She knocked on his door, reminded him of the hate he typed, and told him that she found him easily. Then she gave him a choice. He could apologize, or she would show his wife the grinder account that she discovered. Well, he chose to read her written apology out loud. So, she had the goods on this dude.
Another day on social media.
Folks, don't try this at home.
It's
Don't
a
roll up
lot
on
going
nobody.
on social media.
Don't roll up on folks. I mean, you had 3 hours. Look, it turned out She got her apology and all that. It turned out okay for her. But 9 times out of 10, those may not turn out. I would not recommend that. I mean, it is pretty hilarious that she did this. So, don't try it at home, as they say. Yeah, exactly, Dr. Marilyn. Um, Empress, I'm going to go back because Empress says that the ACA healthcare is not affordable. She says she say it every day. Oh gosh, now I'm getting these other comments that except every day many people are losing it and white people. Yeah, so you're 100% right um, about the affordability, but it still deserves the name. The reason it still deserves the name affordable healthcare is because they have the GOP in Congress, and of course, this president, dating back to when he was the president the first time, has done everything they could to take away all of the protections, and they've continued to do stuff like what they're doing now. If they take away the subsidies, which they will do, most likely, a vote is supposed to come up on that. Like I said, tomorrow, it's not going to be affordable for 40 plus million people at least. In this country, but it was the most affordable thing that we had in some time. And the idea, folks, was that this was a way, and one of the reasons they hate it, other than the fact that it's a black man who put it together, is that it has rich people paying into a system that they don't they don't benefit the way that poor people benefit. And so they hate that. They absolutely despise that. So that's one of the things that Republicans kept pointing out. Why should I pay for this person's health care? Why should I pay for that person's health care? And so that's a big thing there. So it's not to say that it's not affordable at this juncture. You're right, and that's not the fault of the person who made that law.
Well, the way bills typically work is, you get it passed and then you modify and you reform. And so the way Congress used to work is there's no perfect bill. Let's just be clear about that. I don't
Hmm.
care if it's a municipal, ordinance. I don't care if it's a state law or a federal law. There is no perfect bill. And the way that it's supposed to work is Congress, both sides, or maybe it's a three-party side, they're supposed to continue to amend, they are supposed to continue to modify, and they're supposed to continue to reform. And they're supposed to go back and forth with each other to come up with the compromise that is best for their constituents, which are the American people. That's the way it's supposed to work. But what they did once Barack Obama signed that law, that the Affordable Care Act into law, the Republicans did everything they could to dismantle it, not to make it better, but to dismantle it. And that is the issue with the Affordable Care Act. The Republicans never intended for it to work. Now, they might have, but when Donald Trump became a factor into it, it was totally to dismantle it. And that's where the issue came in. The Affordable Care Act could be a great law, a great resource for the American people, but the Republican Party refused to make it better. And
Yeah.
I think that any Democrat, and I think even Barack Obama would say that there's a lot that could be done to this bill. A
Hmm.
lot. But they never tried to modify or reform it. They just want to destroy it. And that is the issue. And that's why
Yeah.
it's so expensive.
They have completely they have consistently, I should say, tried to weaken it, have weakened it consistently. Dr. Nicole says that this, yes, in their minds is a form of socialism, which is a dirty word. Exactly. And Dr. Marilyn says, I personally don't want free health care simply because of what Canada is experiencing. Waiting 18 months for a doctor's appointment will not work for me. Well, and that's true. But in France, for instance, very, very cheap. I go back to
Mhm.
France. It's a very cheap uh, healthcare system. As far as you talk about affordable, it's like way affordable. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
free, but
damn
it's
near
affordable. It,
free.
it right. It's based on um, you know what your procedure is, but it's most procedures are just stuff that will cost thousands here. There's a couple, maybe even $100 there.
I
It's
remember
just
when the
it
Olympics were
works.
happening. When the Olympics were happening, all you heard and saw on TikTok and the news was how the Olympic players were going over there. They were getting their teeth done, they were getting it whitened, they were getting pap smears. They were like, it's free over here. I'm going to
Yep.
do every service that I can before I come back to the United States because healthcare was just so accessible over
So
there. So it does work.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what
It's
I'm saying? It works. It's just that we don't want it to work.
I
Well, they
remember
don't want
when
it to work.
they don't want it to work. I remember when the ACA first was done, when it went into law, the Healthcare Affordable Care Act, and when I started to understand it, I couldn't believe. And I have to say, it was such a great thing because once you start with the subsidies that they were given, even at that time, it was like, wow, something that at that point maybe 600 a month was only costing you 100 a month. It was
I
just
remember.
wonderful, and like you said, they kept weakening it. They did nothing to strengthen it. And so, I on that, Empress, I can't agree with you that it is far, in my view, this was the opposite of horrible.
Right.
And there was a whole lot of benefits in that law.
Right. And I remember at that time too, when there was a lot of conversation. And Kamala Harris was a senator at the time, and there were lots of conversations. And the Democrats talking points, like Democrats had an opportunity to kind of change the narrative to fight for the Affordable Care Act, but they just never had any good talking points. And I can't remember what the term they were using, but I remember because Kamala Harris was our senator at the time, and she was out here, and I was able to ask her, what's up with? I was asking them about their talking points then. And I'm like,
Right.
why don't you use forms like we need to reform and modify? Oh, that's what it was. They kept talking about how horrible it was. And it was like, well, why don't Democrats say we need to reform and modify it instead of just letting Republicans trample all over this piece of legislation that is important to the American people? She had no response for it. Democrats really need to figure out how to lobby and advocate and articulate to the American people better ways. They need to figure out better ways to talk to us to make sure that it matters. Because I think that we played a part in not fighting for health care because we didn't know what the Republicans were doing, but the Democrats knew, and they just didn't know
Yeah.
how to tell us. They just didn't
And,
know how to tell us.
like you said, their talking points, they are often provided by Republicans, some great talking points they choose not to use. I
So,
mean, they give them so many, they give them ammunition and they don't use it.
right. So
And
I'm
Patricia's right. She says improving isn't a bad thing.
reform, modify, get it together. And they saw what the Republicans were doing. And we saw
Mhm.
like the healthcare industries lobbying. There were some pieces of legislation that were provided by lobbyists that Republicans got busted out for several times, that they just took the bills and then forgot to take the name off of the lobbyist firm that gave them the piece of legislation. They just turned it in and they forgot to remove who it came from. They weren't
That
even
sounds like
writing the bill.
incompetence.
They weren't even writing the bills. The lobbyists, the insurance companies, the people who they just turned it in.
That sounds like the height of incompetence to me. Golly, they was
That's what they were
putting it in
doing.
with the lobbyist name on it.
They were
That is
turning in the bills. That happened several
that's
times.
pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. Look, Dr. Marilyn says, yes, France is great, but they are healthier than the United States, so it's not as expensive. We make money off our bad diet, which leads to diseases. Everyone makes money, doctors, dialysis clinics, et cetera, et cetera. She's 100% right.
Yeah. So, we'll see because this is going to continue to be an issue because we know that the Donald Trump administration has no intentions of helping the American people. And so
None.
we're going to have more sick people without access to health care. And then you have a country that is ran by Republicans who don't give a damn.
Uh,
All right, 24 days until 2026. Let's jump into some more headlines. And folks are giving Magic Johnson the side eye. Now, this is
Uh-oh.
after he posed and photos on his Instagram account that he was having his annual Christmas event give back from a Target store. Now he wrote with the pictures, we treated 125 local kids to a Target shopping spree where they got to spend $225 on whatever they wanted. And so, you know, my Magic Johnson's been doing this since 1994. They've serviced over 45,000 children. This is what he wrote, and that they've received over $500,000. I mean, 500,000 toys and new bikes through his Christmas event. But the question is, you know, is it okay if it's for charity to be at Target? If it's for charity and for the kids, is it
Look,
okay?
yeah, I am,
Or
we speak about these like you said, these billionaires, they do stuff that that they should be commended for. And we don't always like their choices. Whether or not this was a bad choice or not depends on the lens you're looking at it from. So I, I I've had my say on Target. I think that there's a lot that we don't know and we don't understand, and we are willfully ignorant on. I'm not saying that Target is all right. I'm just saying I think that there's a lot there that is not being reported, and I think is not being reported because people like to be mad about stuff that they have no reason to be mad about.
you know, it was for the kids. It was so funny. My niece and nephew are down here this weekend, and I took them to the mall to get their Christmas gifts. And you know, there are no more toy stores. Remember, you used to go to KB and Toys R Us, and there were
About
toy
that.
stores. You just walk in the toy store and get what you want. There are no toys, but there was a Target in the mall, and I was like, okay, you guys want to sneak into Target? They were like, they looked at me and they was like, no, we cannot
Mm,
go into Target. I said, well, all right then, niece and nephew. And we found something else, but they were not willing to go. I was like, well, Magic did it for charity. I said, if y'all, okay, we just go sneak. They said, no, absolutely not. So I
mm.
said, okay.
Well, I have a 15-year-old who, ever since she was born, her favorite store is Target. So, what can you say?
They was like, absolutely not.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, so Magic Johnson, who knows? Maybe Target gifted them. I'm pretty sure they did. Gave Magic Johnson a big incentive to do that, right? And it might not just have been the toys.
You'd imagine that whichever outlet or whatever he decided to wherever he decided to do this, yeah, there was something in it that they there was something about it. Whatever, they gave him some sort of incentive to do it. Yes.
Yeah. So moving on to a white ally that continues to impress, Michael Bloomberg is building a direct pipeline to HBCUs. Now, he recently announced a $20 million initiative to fund two public schools in Alabama, at Stillman College and one at Tuskegee University that will create the direct pipeline. And the school is from K through 12, and Bloomberg laid this foundation for this partnership, which he launched in conjunction with the United Negro College Fund. And so basically, there will be these charter schools either on the campus or very close to the campus that will work in conjunction with these HBCUs to give these students an opportunity to have access to the campus, and lead them towards, you know, being integrated into the school after they graduate. I mean, this is a brilliant idea. And this is what you talk about, good or bad. This is what an ally looks like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Him and Mackenzie Scott. Um, Again, it's good to see. It's great to see, and I still believe we got to take care of our own. So I'm still calling out the black billionaires. Where are you? Where are you in this fight? Some of you probably have shown your your hand somewhere in this, but it's being totally overshadowed by white folks. So, and
Well,
I don't care. I
no,
don't mind
I
Bloomberg
think what
and
yeah,
go
Robert
ahead.
Greene is doing something huge with HBCUs. He's planning
Mhm.
a concert. And I mean, Robert Greene gives, Oprah Winfrey gives, Tyler Perry gives. So there, Sean Combs gives. I'm not Sean Combs. Well, Sean Combs did give, but I'm talking about Sean Carter. So black billionaires do give. They give.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but
Oh, I've seen.
if
Well,
you,
I
I'm
have.
taking.
The
Oh,
ones that I listed, they give.
okay.
And there's a big HBCU concert that's happening in March. And it's a huge campaign with Live Nation in conjunction with Robert Greene. And it's all about amplifying the Black college experience and helping more Black students go to HBCUs. And we know Robert Greene has a foundation that gives. But I mean, this concert is huge, and there's so many people that are involved. Um, the Black state legislators are involved. So it is going to be not just a concert, but it's going to be a movement to not only support our HBCUs, but draw awareness to them as well. So,
I think what Bloomberg is doing is that epitome of teaching a man how to fish instead of giving the man a fish.
right. Yeah, and which is different from Mackenzie Scott. Mackenzie Scott, which is brilliant, love her for doing it. She's giving, and I think it takes all, right? Everybody
Mhm.
can't do the same thing. I think his is more strategy and strategic, until you say, teaching them how to fish and building a pipeline, helping build a
Mm.
pipeline, a direct connection to an HBCU with the school. I know at Grambling does have a high school, so that was
Mhm.
kind of an indirect pipeline.
Yeah.
So yeah.
RNG says, "Don't tell Pharrell. He will say it's D and I."
He actually came out last week and
I know.
responded. I forgot what his slogan was, but it was real corny. I hate to
It was
say
very
it, but it was
corny.
like you should have just left it alone and let that
Yeah.
headline
He's
die down.
yeah. Yeah. Click on this or something like that. He was saying.
Robert
Yeah.
Smith. It's not Robert Greene. Lydia, I'm sorry. It's Robert Smith. It's Robert Smith, the billionaire,
Okay.
the one that paid for that year. He went viral for paying all of the Morehouse men's tuition when
Mhm.
he gave the commencement speech. Talking about
Right.
that guy. So since we're talking about pipelines, we were talking about healthcare and the cost of it. I mean, education is very expensive. So let's talk about the cost of living in 2026. Now, a new study says single American households will need an annual salary of $80,000 to $90,000 to be considered financially comfortable, okay, in 2026. Now, 90,000 serves as the baseline for financial security and reflects the rising cost of housing, transportation, and other necessities. And this is according to Go Bank rates. Now, this is what they say financial comfort looks like. It's called the 50-30-20 budget rule, which means 50% is dedicated to your needs like rent, your mortgage, groceries, utility, and transportation. Now, 30% should be allocated or is allocated towards discretionary spending like entertainment and non essential purchases. And then the 20% is committed to saving, debit repayment, retirement, emergency funds, and etc. And so, looking at 2026, can you imagine as a single? I'm single. You have to make at least $100,000 just to live, Stacy.
As a single person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about
Yeah.
right. That's the way things are. And when you talk about discretionary spending, that's a foreign concept to many people right now.
Right. Saving, it's just and to say that, just an amendment to what we just talked about, according to another study by Talker Research and Earning, the survey found By 48 hours, nearly 48% of the average paycheck is already spent. So by the time
Wow.
you get your paycheck within 48 hours, at least half your check is gone. And the study also found Americans spend more than one third of their paycheck within the first 12 hours of receiving it.
Wow, how about that? Destined Forever, Stephanie Humphrey's channel, right? She says, "Child, tell the Department of Education to up my salary."
This is insane. And then you have these headlines about robots are taking all of our jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have a Trump clan administration that is empowering these AI giants like Elon Musk, OpenAI, to do just that. They're not
Yeah.
thinking about us, let alone our health care. What we gonna do,
Listen,
y'all? What we gonna do?
it's just as you know, Niele, what is it's scriptural, right? Man has dominated man to his harm, so it's
You know,
unbelievable.
just a little perspective. And switching it up in a little entertainment news, prayers go out to Saturday Love, Alexander O'Neill, who was rushed to the hospital over the weekend as a fire broke out in his apartment complex. Now, his wife says she awoke to O'Neill shouting as flames bubbled through a
Hmm.
cord of his oxygen machine, which he
Wow.
had brought home with him as he was just discharged from ICU hours before the incident. And so, much prayers because we know, and we've seen Alexander O'Neill's throughout the years struggle with addiction and his health. And so we just pray for him and hope that he's able to redeem himself, and he was also a part of your one of your favorites. Prince wrote a lot of songs for Alexander O'Neill,
Hmm.
and he worked with
Yeah.
Prince a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's a shame, like you say, it's home, just home from the hospital, and
Just
this
home.
happens.
Yeah.
Goodness grief.
Well, thank God
Wow.
though, his wife was able to wake up and get them out of that
Yeah. How
situation
about that,
before something horrible
man?
happened. Well, tragic, so to say.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
finally, let's jump back into a HBCU headline. Congratulations goes out to Prairie View, who defeated Jackson State 23-21 in the SWAC championship. Now, Prairie View hasn't won the SWAC championship since 2009. So, congratulations to him and them. And they now advance to the Cricket Celebration Bowl against the South Carolina State Bulldogs. And that's coming up this Saturday, December 13th on ABC. You can check your local listings to check it out. But HBCUs in prime time is always a good idea.
OG said it's just horrible, and I saw where it was Prairie View who was trying to plant their flag there, and even the police there at the game was not allowing them to do that.
Haters, haters,
Haters.
haters don't hate. Haters are
Terrible.
going to hate.
Mm,
And
mm,
those are your
mm.
headlines for today, folks.
Well, let's get some black facts in. So, we know that many historians and legal scholars consider the U.S. Supreme Court's 1954 decision in Brown v. Board of Education to be one of the most important and far reaching pronouncements in the history of the court. Well, on this date in 1953, the one and only Thurgood Marshall, the chief legal counsel for the NAACP, gave that argument for the plaintiff. So, this is the day that Thurgood Marshall, the soon to be Supreme Court Justice, argued in the Brown v. Board of Education case.
I mean, that's so interesting when you think about the Supreme Court today.
Oh
And
gosh.
you think about like that image of him walking up the Supreme Court steps. You think about, what was going on during that time, and you think about, the racism. But I think the court today is worse than that court that he was up against.
Yeah,
When you
absolutely
think
right.
about it,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
worse.
disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree. And that's
It's
why, like I said, you got these decisions coming up this week from the court, including the birthright citizenship. I don't know if the decision's coming; they're going to hear it, and you just gotta hold your breath on what they're going to decide, because that has some serious folks, serious implications for Black folks. And there was, and I should have brought it with me this morning, folks, but there's an article that a professor did on why Black people in particular should be concerned with this birthright citizenship. We kind of touched on it. You guys inadvertently touched on it last week. You and Greer, when you're talking about on your birth certificate saying Negro. Well, I'll find that. I'll share it with you guys. This article, this paper that she did is unbelievable, and it tells you why they could ultimately just say, hey, go back to the 14th Amendment and say, you guys, I think it's the 14th Amendment, you guys are just not citizens. So, talking about Black folks. So, it's one to watch.
okay. So are we really foundational? And then today, while many will commemorate and remember the bombing of Pearl Harbor, let's also remember the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874, where white mobs in Vicksburg, Mississippi, attacked and killed dozens of Black citizens who were organizing to support a sheriff by the name of Peter Crosby, who was a Black official. And this led to the brutal display of racial terrorism during Reconstruction. And those white terrorists are in the White House today.
Mm-mm.
That's how
And
we
look at
gonna
that.
start your Monday.
Look at that headline too. 150 Negroes were slaughtered. Um, I mean, that headline says more than just them being killed, right? Slaughtered. It's like, again, the idea you slaughter animals, right? That's how they view us. So
Right.
there you go. We got like a couple of minutes, Neo, and somebody said something earlier. I want you to talk about just for a minute, and it was about one of your shows, I think. And I can't find it. Dang on it. But let's see. Oh gosh, somebody said something about one. Oh, it wasn't about one. I saw it was Aquarius. She says, I saw that Ray J owes American Express. Also, what was his purpose of starting drama? What do you know
Oh,
about that?
hilarious. The news cycles go so fast. It's like that seems like that was a year ago now. But yeah, I mean, it's Ray J, But guess who hasn't shown back up to that Boy Is Mine tour? The Carters. They ain't been back.
Well, apparently, there was, and you said there might be pictures out there, more pictures out there, but there apparently we saw a video of Brandy coming up in a motor thing and Beyonce going the other way or something like
When she
that.
saw her, she turned around and
He
walked the
turned
other
around and
way.
went, "What in the world, Niele? You need to go ahead.
I
You need to
mean,
take a trip to
you know,
Texas and go sit down and have this
I
conversation with
like
Beyonce."
I kind of like this for Beyonce though, because she's always seen in a bubble, so isolated for people. So this puts her in a situation like she just like us. She got beef too with certain people. Somebody that said something that rubbed her the wrong way, and you know what I'm saying. So this humanizes her to me. You know. I love it for her.
You love it.
Um, and I love it for Brandy too, because I think it shows just how relevant and how popular Brandy is. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, don't sleep on Brandy. Brandy is that girl too. Okay. And
Hey,
and Brandy is like so unconcerned about it. And I like how maybe I think it was the Atlanta tour. Ray J pulled up and Brandy posted pictures with him after this incident. So I mean, she's not too bad at her brother for doing what he did. So it's just a key for me.
I charge you with going out there to Texas and having a peace summit between Beyonce and Brandy.
Nah, You know, I'm not. They're not going to pay me for it.
She want the coin, y'all. She want the coin. Oh
But no,
gosh.
I
Well,
love it. I love it. And the Boys Mind tour is slowly wrapping up. So if you haven't seen it, first of all, go follow the Boys Mind tour on social media, and you will understand why that's a concert that I definitely want to see it now. At first, I was like, but now I want to see it for sure. And they said that last thing they said that Kelly's shows have the production quality and value of it has gone up. And they're saying it's because Beyonce came and gave her a notebook full of stuff to fix. And it's reflected in the show now.
oh gosh. Oh boy. I don't know. Kelly probably don't want that type of attention to say that, oh, Beyonce had to tell me how to do my concert.
Well, they said you don't have, she doesn't have to say it. You can see it.
Mm, okay.
You can see
Interesting
the
stuff.
upgrade of the quality of the show. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. There's so much conversation around the show, like Money Long. She's left the show, so Keisha Cole has taken her spot. Then they said Maya was on the show, and then Maya put out a post and was like, no, I'm not. So it's a lot going on with the ladies on the Boys
Come on.
Mind tour, which keeps it really juicy and makes you want to go and see those ladies perform.
All right.
You should
Well,
do a
hopefully we
story
get
on it. You should do a story on it, Stacy.
it's not for me. You should do a story. Let's use your story.
Okay.
There you go. Send it. Send it. You went on mute. She don't want us to hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was going to
Yes.
say, for the latest in Black news, maybe not the Brandy headline, but all the other Black headlines are over at BlackPressUSA.com.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.